On the march, the Empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
Used since before the days of the Roman Empire to support the body's natural systems and enhance overall health. Introducing the new InfoWarsLife.com oil of oregano formulation, a highly advanced nutraceutical form of this key herb that has been traditionally used by civilizations for thousands of years to promote health. We have now procured the most high quality and potent forms of oregano oil on the market, sourced from top leading manufacturers to ensure a concentrated level of bioactive ingredients. Extracted directly from the wild herb and sealed in easy-to-use capsules, you will no longer need to endure the burning of liquid oregano on the tongue. Wild crafted from the Mediterranean oregano species that experts agree is one of the most powerful and most challenging to acquire. This winter season, it's more important than ever to secure this true form of oil of oregano. Now available in our limited first run at InfoWarsLife.com. That's InfoWarsLife.com or call 888-253-3139. InfoWars Life and InfoWarsLife.com is extremely excited to announce our latest release, Winter Sun, a revolutionary type of vitamin D3. Winter Sun is a premium quality vitamin D3 nutritional supplement. It is produced by extracting oil from healthy, nutrient-dense plants known as lichens. Every batch is analyzed for purity and D3 content. It's completely free of toxins and allergens. Simply put, if you want the best at an extremely low price, this is it. Winter Sun is the result of our pursuit of the best source of vitamin D3. The research and development took over 2 years, but the result, as verified by independent laboratories, is the best vegan vitamin D3 product in the world. Read the facts at InfoWarsLife.com about Winter Sun Vitamin D3. Not only does vitamin D3 promote a healthy mood, but vitamin D supports our memory and brain function, something the globalists are targeting. Visit InfoWars.com today or call 888-253-3139. Alex Jones here. For the last 2 years, I've been working with top doctors, nutritionists, and chemists to design a nutraceutical formulation that has truly life-changing health benefits. So many other formulations out there contain toxic ingredients, synthetic additives, and even GMOs. Introducing the all-new Ancient Defense Herbal Immunity Blend, crafted with over 14 key ancient herbs and extracts to supercharge and prepare your body for what experts admit is the most dangerous season of the year. We have rejected hundreds of other formulations in our quest to bring you what is simply the most powerful and comprehensive proprietary formula that we have ever created in the realm of herbal immunity. Experience the benefits of combining over 14 ancient herbs and extracts with exciting new advances in nutraceutical science. Now is the time to secure Ancient Defense for you and your family. Visit InfoWarsLife.com or call 1-888-253-3139. That's InfoWarsLife.com.
We want your soul. We want your soul. We want your soul.
Defending the Republic from enemies, foreign and domestic. It's Alex Jones.
Your habits, your facts.
Steven Crowder is our guest.
Your address.
Well-known comedian, actor, radio host, author, louderwithcrowder.com. He had mentioned as a proviso when he first came on with us, and maybe before he leaves us, we'll discuss it, about, hey, we don't agree on everything, but I'm glad to come on about this. So I guess some of the neocons or kind of rhinos out there will probably henpeck him, because it's all this social engineering that he would dare come on the Conspiracy Theorist show. Let me guess, Stephen, you've probably criticized me before. I don't know. I'm just guessing for saying 9/11 truth or something. But that's only because the media misrepresents what I'm saying. There are radical Islamicists. That's going on. I was interviewing the embassy heads and special forces commanders and everybody else that al-Qaeda was being protected. Look at how we funded ISIS and al-Qaeda. I mean, I've really been vindicated on all those fronts. Now, I'm going with a hunch here. But let me guess, I bet you've been critical of me or something in the past. I don't care if you have been. I love it. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, listen, of course I have. But you're also, by the way, syndicated on my my wonderful home station in Detroit, Wham. Yeah, but I've been critical of lots of people. You know, when I worked at Fox News, I was getting in hot water all the time for criticizing people there. What I would love to see is you know, let's get you and Glenn Beck and Sean Hannity and Michelle Malkin in a room, and let's just all hug it out, because the barrel of the gun that we are looking down right now, Alex, is so huge that I'm just done with the infighting. But yeah,
I agree. No, exactly. Yeah. I mean, Glenn Beck does a lot of great work. You do great work. Michelle Malkin does a lot of great work. Everybody, we just need folks that are saying Ted Cruz isn't perfect. Well, compare him to Hillary Clinton. Yes, he is perfect.
Well, compare anybody to Hillary Clinton. I think they're going to look like a beacon of light and hope. And listen, and I've gotten flack for saying, I don't know that Ted Cruz is necessarily the guy. I love Ted Cruz. You know, obviously the issue is, would I love for him to be president? Sure. Do I think he can win? You know, I'm not sure. And some people will go nuts and say that I'm a rhino if I say that. You know, it's one of those things where you can't please everybody. We certainly disagree on a lot. I do think that, like you said, if someone goes into your arguments on some of the issues, I think you're more reasoned than the media necessarily portrays you to be. It doesn't mean that I can't have a disagreement, but
I love it. Absolutely. I think it's awesome. That's what it's all about. It's political correctness that tries to act like it's bad if people debate or disagree. That's what makes good radio to begin with.
No, I think you're right. And I think we've both been accused of being part of a Zionist gulag on YouTube. So there's a kinship in that.
Exactly. Or working for the Vatican or space aliens. Again, Steven Crowder, louderwithcrowder.com. Excellent videos, great radio show. Steven, expanding on this, though, and we've got all these athletes now competing in powerlifting, in Olympic races, and now the liberal groups are saying, or the socialist groups are saying, you've got to let men compete as women. I mean, this is an overthrow of reality. South Africa's runner makes Olympic debuts 3 years after Gender Storm.
Right. Well, you know, it's funny you mentioned that, because I actually wrote a column while I was at Fox News years ago about Fallon Fox. And I know you're good friends with Joe Rogan and Eddie Bravo. And Joe Rogan, listen, leans to the left, obviously socially. Fiscally tends to be more conservative. He's another free thinker with whom I agree on a lot and disagree on a lot. He even took a stand on the Fallon Fox issue and said, like, man, that's an advantage. Fallon Fox, for those who don't know, is a mixed martial arts fighter, was a man, I believe, fathered a child his entire life, and then in his late 20s or 30s decided he wanted to be a woman, and now beats the crap out of women in a cage for a living. And, you know, the analogy I used was this, and people got really mad, right? Because they trot out science and say, well, there's no real
yeah, let's let Mike Tyson say he's a woman and go into fighting women. I mean,
yeah, well, listen, we had Chael Sonnen on my show last week, and he said, listen, I've fought in the UFC. I've fought for the title 3 times. He said, I can, if I were not on a public radio show, I could give you names of men. I don't know if this is true. This is what Chael Sonnen told me, who would cut off their genitals to win the strap, to win a championship. Now, that's what he's saying. We don't necessarily understand the psyche behind these athletes and the extremes they'll go to. But the point I made on Fallon Fox is this. Christiane Santos, Cyborg is her nickname. She's one of the top female fighters in the world. At one point, she was suspended, and I believe stripped of her title, but she was certainly suspended because they found out that she had used steroids, okay? At one point in her career, I don't even believe it was in that current fight, but they found out she had used steroids and she was suspended. Fallon Fox has used steroids her whole life. They're called balls. So if we're going to act as though it's not an advantage.
Are those what Hillary has? I'm sorry.
Oh, geez. There you go. Well, Alex said it. People send him your hate tweets, not me. But listen, you know, a woman on steroids, okay, for example, let's take a natural woman. Okay, and then a woman on steroids, on performance-enhancing drug. That woman doesn't enjoy the advantage over a natural woman that I enjoy. To give you another example, let's take Arnold or Ronnie Coleman or any of these walking human pincushions, right? These bodybuilders who are any steroid they can possibly use, they put in their body. They don't enjoy the hormonal advantage over me as a steroided out freak, as a man, that I enjoy over a normal woman, let alone the bone structure.
It's bone structure. It's the muscles, the tendons. A male brain is more aggressive. Male brains make quicker decisions in a fight. It's just well known that you can even remove your testicles. You're still a man genetically. And then a lot of these transvestites aren't even removing their testicles, and they're now allowed to be in the UFC beating up women, or they're allowed to run in the Olympics. You're going to have no one in the Olympics soon but men that have had their genitals cut off.
I don't know if I would go that extreme. By the way, Fallon Fox wasn't fighting in the UFC, was fighting in other organizations.
Whatever, fighting in those same thing, yeah.
I understand your point. Well, it is interesting, and people say it, if that's the science and it's settled, right? That's what anyone says. on the left, if they disagree, well, the science is settled, whether it's climate change or now whether it's the transgenderism thing, which, by the way, I need people to understand, this has not come out of a place of hate. I mean, I've worked as an actor since I was 12. You know, I didn't go to school for many, many days, I mean, because I was out on set. So I worked in an industry that was pretty liberal. You can bet that I've had transgender people working on my face or my whole life. I've been around it. It's nothing new to me.
You're not attacking anybody, but the issue is it's a tiny percentage of the population. We're bombarded with it, and then it's not fair that a guy can say he's a girl in boxing or UFC or any other MMA. I mean, it's just, that's what I'm saying. Why are they so special? What's behind the agenda pushing it?
Well, I don't know if it's necessarily behind an agenda. I don't think, and this is where I would say that you and I sometimes disagree, right? I don't tend to believe that people get together and set agendas a lot of the time. Sometimes they do, right? There are some people who are proactively evil, I would say. You know, people like the Ahmadinejads of the world or Nancy Pelosi, depending on how you look at it. But I wouldn't say that necessarily in this case. I think what's happened is the bar has just been moved so frequently that people just accept it. I mean, the transgender thing is really relatively new. And by the way, we're having a lesbian guest on my show here this week or next week, I believe. And a lot of lesbians and a lot of feminists, by the way, are offended by the transgender push. You have some liberal feminists who believe that it's a product of patriarchy, that it's unfair to women for a man to decide that he wants to be a woman and act as though he understands the plight of women and the rights that they don't have. I'm not saying I agree with them. And then you have lesbians who say that they feel bullied and that you know, they're being marginalized. So it's not like it's settled even on the left, but you're told that, hey, if you believe, for example, I watched, you know, not that long ago, maybe about a year and a half ago, Tyra Banks had a little boy coming out who was 7 years old and saying, you know, referred to his penis as his birth defect. She's going, your birth defect, your penis, and they're going to chop it off for the kid because he wants to be a girl. At what point do we say, hey, hold on a second? It might be healthier with a 7-year-old who, by the way, 3 minutes ago was wiping his boogers on the couch, and we're now allowing him to make sexual decisions for the rest of his life. It might be healthier to maybe see if this kid is confused.
It might be healthier to not be, look, Death Education, 2020 did a special on this in like 1997, but they introduced it at Columbine first federally and then other schools, and within a couple of years there was a doubling and a tripling of suicide. It's the same thing. You start teaching 5- and 6-year-olds about transvestites and trannies and she-males and hermaphrodites, the kids end up getting confused. And then they have the supermodels on TV saying, you know, like you just mentioned, we'll get rid of your birth defect. It sounds like it's an attack on the standard genders of the mammal species, male and female. I think that's what it is.
Well, yeah, and that's where, you know, the left loves to accuse people of conservatives of being simple, right? Yet they grossly oversimplify, for example, the issue of same-sex marriage. I'm not even talking legally, if you want the government to recognize it or not. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty libertarian on the issue. The problem I have, and by the way, it's more complicated than that even legally. Where my home country in Canada, you have pastors who are now put in jail for hate speech simply saying they won't marry members of the same sex. So it's more complicated than just love versus hate. That's what I like to teach people about, and I like to open up that discussion.
Sure, political correctness is a tyranny. It's being used to control language and bully people. I mean, and I want you to be able to continue, but since you mentioned it, I thought you were joking. We have the video. I'll play it for TV viewers. Radio listeners, just Google eating pizza while working at Planet Fitness, and we've got footage of this with the guy. I mean, the guy looks like he weighs 400 pounds, and he's actually working out his back in a back machine while eating pizza that is from Planet Fitness. But don't worry, the purple plate matches the decor.
Right, yeah, exactly. By the way, it is horrible branding. If I'm just going to speak from a design perspective, purple and yellow, every time I go, I mean, I can't imagine an epileptic training at Planet Fitness. It'd be like watching an anime cartoon. Yeah, well, listen, the idea, it even goes back to, like I said, you know, same-sex marriage. We're not talking about the legal issue. But what you are saying with that, okay, and this is something that's very important here, and I hope people understand where I'm coming from. It doesn't come from a position of hate. You're saying that men and women are fundamentally interchangeable. You're saying that two daddies can offer everything that a daddy and a mommy can. You are saying that two women offer everything that a man can. And I don't agree with that premise. I don't accept that premise. But here's the problem. When you start down that road, well, you've made men and women fundamentally interchangeable. You now can't say, okay, we're at a fork. We have to stop here when you get to the transgender issue. You have to be accepting of any and all preferences regarding what people want to do.
Well, now in Europe and in Australia, they're trying to legalize pedophilia, saying that, oh, that's the next frontier.
Well, it's legal where I'm from. Where I'm from, the age of consent in Quebec is 14 years old. Now, again, we want to be accepting of people, right? We want to be accepting of everything, apparently. Well, you tell me that a relationship between a 55-year-old man and a 15